Hey guys, and welcome back to Trekyards. I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Commander Cockins, and we're still on Discovery, a week of potentials and possibilities. And Stuart, what are we looking at today?
Well, the conspiracy continues.
Yes.
As they say. We are looking at, this is kind of a continuation from the last video we did, talking about whether Ash Tyler, Lieutenant Ash Tyler, is actually a Klingon agent or a Klingon spy. This one is a little more specific.
Yes.
Is he, in fact, Vok?
Now,
the albino.
Yes. Now, background, who is Ash Tyler that we've been introduced to, just the audience is fully aware.
Ash Tyler is the gentleman we got introduced in the last episode. He was in Klingon prison, and he was aboard the Jaeger at the Battle of the Binary Stars and was captured and had been there for 7 months. So he was in Klingon prison for 7 months. So, and he had a thing with the female Klingon.
Yes. And then he happens to be on the ship that Lorca gets kidnapped to. They both escape. They both get back to Discovery. You know, the most secret ship of the fleet. Good timing for Ash Tyler. And last episode we said, is he a Klingon spy? Is he maybe a Klingon transformed into a human? We didn't want to go into that too much detail. But a very widespread theory right now is that he is in fact the albino, the hero-ish Klingon Vok. Now, I don't believe you thought about this until I pointed out at the end of last recording, and then your eyes lit up. So what do you think of this potential story now that it's been brought to your attention?
It makes perfect sense. End of the last episode, she said to him, look, I'm going to help you out, but you need to lose everything that you hold dear. And I'm like, He has nothing. He doesn't have a ship.
You said that,
crew. Yeah. And then you're like, well, maybe he's going to lose his Klingon, because he's all about reuniting the houses. And yeah. So, and this is a month later, so it's a month is a fast time turnaround for that. But anyway, perhaps he got surgically altered or genetically altered to look like this Ash Tyler, who was aboard the Jaeger. Now, because there would have been records of this individual aboard the ship, so they couldn't just introduce a new person.
Yeah.
Because it'll probably be checked by Starfleet and all that. So they'd have to make him look exactly like the individual in question. Maybe they had his body from the
quite possibly
battle zone,
and
scanned it and then ate him. I don't know, and made this guy look exactly like him until they infiltrate the Federation. What better way to do that? Plus, it holds true to the whole losing everything you hold dear. He's no longer a Klingon. He now speaks English. Very good English. Better than his Klingon.
Well, shall I quote the exact conversation from last episode, as in episode 4?
Do.
So, the Lady Klingon beams him, saying, I've stolen a raider, and will take you to the home of the Mokai, which I believe is her house, or one of her 2 houses, which is the Subterfuge house, is what she said earlier in the episode. I will leave you with the matriarchs, who will expose you to things you never knew possible, but it will come at a cost. What must I sacrifice? Everything. So that would fit the turn into a human and lose everything. Now there's a couple of potentials there. Obviously, in FASA, which is a thing you love dearly, this is normal. This idea of spies and being turned into human lookalike. Don't talk about the augment virus for a second, because that's retconned in. But in the FASA universe, how did this work, and why was it a thing?
Well, that's described. And that was used in FASA to describe the TOS-looking Klingons in the series. Basically, they either genetically modified them or just give them cosmetic surgery to appear human, so that it would be much easier for them to infiltrate Federation space. Whether they were serving as a Klingon aboard a Klingon ship or not, it kind of gave the Federation... It threw them off balance, because, well, the Klingons look like us. They just look like dirtier versions of us. So not every Federation citizen had seen a real Klingon, so no one really knew for sure what Klingons looked like. You heard rumors they looked like they had ridges, and then you saw one for yourself, and you didn't have that. It was just to stabilize the Federation view of the Klingons, and also have some of these spies, specifically like Arndarvin, get past being aboard a ship just get into Federation space as like a trader or something, some low-level person that could at least keep tabs on what's going on at different star bases, things like that. And it should be noted too that they also had Klingons that look like Romulans to do the exact same thing along the Romulan border, which is a great idea, and it ties in with the whole Cold War aspect that we had here with Russian spies in America and vice versa, and just spies all over the world keeping track of enemy weapons placements and things like that. So I think it's a great idea, and it's a little not tip of the hat to FASA, I think, and that whole aspect. But I love the idea of having spies in this show. So,
well, I mean, the FASA universe obviously isn't a canon, but you mentioned Aaron Darvin. That's obviously in Trials and Tribulations and Trouble with Tribbles. He is a human-looking person who's revealed to be a Klingon with completely believable, speaks like a human, and passes through it very happily and gets a position on this station. So the technology exists 10 years after this in Kirk's time, and it's very reasonable to assume it would be now as well. That doubles back, though, in Enterprise, the augment virus, which is based on eugenics war augment DNA. It was designed, the ways the Klingons used it was to try and make stronger, enhanced Klingons. But one of the side effects was that they lost ridges and lost Klingon-y features. Now, they were to stabilize that effect thanks to Dr. Phlox. But again, those Klingons that were infected and cured of the death part of it, the instability, retained the human appearance, lost all ridges, still the facial hair. So we know there is a very simple, and been around for 100 years now, drug, pathogen that creates a human-looking Klingon. So this is very easily doable. So why wouldn't that be the basis of... and we know how the cure was easily disseminated. Why would that be the basis of how you make Klingons look like humans? So you're right. Now, if they do have spies... If they've had spies in the Federation for years and years, perhaps, then maybe they can add in some data into memory alpha and say this guy, he was a Jaeger, crew member, or in fact, well, I wouldn't make sense if it was Vok, but or he was planted there years ago, and he was a survivor. Unless he was just a spy itself. But this episode, jump in there.
I was just gonna say it's interesting because she does talk about the House of Mokai, and then in this episode, she says she comes from a long line of spies. So if that's her house, they know how to do the subterfuge. They know how to do either the surgery or the genetics to change somebody, teach them how to speak English, maybe install a universal translator. I don't know how that would work. It'd be quite hard to learn.
Well, TOS Klingons can do it with ease. So we know it's easy for Klingons with some out of whatever process they have.
Well, yeah, and it is stated in Star Trek 3, too, that only the top Klingon officers speak English on their ships, so that their subordinates don't know what they're talking about. So it's something you probably learn in command officer training for the Klingons. Better to speak a foreign language on your ship and not have anybody understand you than have people trying to get you out of power kind of thing by hearing your plan. But anyway,
universal translator as well. I mean, the fact is, if you can remove all of these cranial ridges, and the fact that your head is 3 times the size it should be, if you can remove all of that, pretty sure you can add a subterranean universal translator chip that we know exists in Enterprise time. It's not even remotely not plausible.
Yeah, true. So yeah, it's a very interesting theory, which I never considered until you kind of put a bug in my ear about it, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense now.
But what do you think about him being specifically this character? Is that because the fact is, and strangely enough, he was introduced in the first episode. He's had a plot through all the episodes that we see him in, to suddenly lose that character, and then suddenly gain this character. I mean, we'll know very quickly if he is or isn't Vok by Vok's appearance or not, but there's an instant transition,
Yeah.
Leaves one plot, enters another, so that there's certainly a coincidental vibe about that.
Yeah, and I think they might actually try to throw us off with that as well, because you might see Vok again, going to the House of Mokai and learning all this stuff, but they won't say 1 month earlier or whatever on the screen. It'll be more like a flashback. That we might not necessarily know that. So they're throwing us off by having a flashback scene showing us Ravok is, and it'll probably be revealed episodes later, that the final thing he has to do is take on the appearance of this guy, and then it's like for the whole season, you're like, oh my god, that was him all along. That's something I can see them doing, in like Arrow fashion, doing the flashbacks all the time.
Yeah.
So if they do that, that's brilliantly played, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
There's also a double thing that we mentioned in the last episode that, he's very pristine, both mentally and physically. While they said he'd been healed up, mentally he seems absolutely fine. And yes, you could be just a really resilient officer, but 6 months of constant torture, we have to pick, are you getting the pain or is someone else getting the pain? That's a mental game beyond a mental game. And if it's meant to destroy trust, he trusts the captain straight away. So obviously his trust is still intact, even if it's a new chap. You'd be damaged by 6 months of constant torture, with a month of being well treated potentially by the female captain. So that makes sense that he was also this other character. But also, if you note, he has facial hair similar to Klingons. Subtle thing there, but he has a goatee, beardy thing like many Klingons have, of the TOS time anyway. Another good way to symbolise the TOS Klingon look. And if you were going to, as Discovery, if you were going to make us believe this was not possible, then don't show us the classic Klingons until at the end. Exclusively show us 3 houses, and specifically mention those houses so we know these are the houses that look like this. If you were to see human-looking Klingons, like you should do, and there hopefully will be at some point, then we know it's possible. Then this character being someone else, more people would put that 2 and 2 together. If you only show these 3 houses, oh no, they messed up. They're only using the wrong Klingons.
This is kind of turning into the the remake of Battlestar Galactica, where everybody's a Cylon. Who's a Klingon? We don't know, because if they can look like us and act like us, they could be anywhere. It really destabilizes the trust in the people around you.
And that's great. I mean, steal it from BSG, that's fine and dandy, do it. I mean, the concept is brilliant, and we've seen it in TOS. It's existent canon, and it had a lot of depth, and it allows you to see both story arcs by still staying in the human side of it. Seeing Voq communicate or whatever back, potentially, and in terms of their plan, I mean, at this point, they were alluding that they know the Discovery is a ship that has this power. And you can they specifically say, Lorca will leave the message the Klingons never forget, despite killing them all. So we assume he didn't kill them all. So they know a ship, they've got some sensor readings. If they manage to get a good clean shot of the window, they know who Lorca is, based on the fact they have a window to see who the captain is. Yeah, it's that easy. They know the Discovery is the ship, they know what it can do in terms of the concept. So if you can, maybe Mudd told them about a meeting, maybe whatever, maybe they obviously had other prisoners. Maybe they knew that was a special meeting was going on. We don't really know, but it all sort of leads into this plot.
Now my question is the actor that's playing Ash Tyler the same actor that played Voq?
So I've researched this a little bit, because that is an interesting thing. Now, Shazad Latif is playing Ash Tyler. Also, we see his face. He's got a decently strong IMDb since 2010. Brilliant, okay? And on his IMDb, it's reiterated that actually, originally, CBS announced in December 2016 that Latif would play the Klingon Kol, the protege of Takuvama. In the final version of the series, Latif went on to play Ash Tyler, while Takuvama's protege was renamed Voq, portrayed by Javid Akbal, and then Kol was given to the leader of the rival Klingon Great House. So he was originally cast to play this other character. However, when you Google Javid Akbal, his IMDb page has 0 information, apart from he's playing Voq. His IMDb has no pictures of him in real life, 1 credit for Star Trek Discovery, and if you Google him, this is a big Reddit thread, apparently he's an Iranian serial killer from like the 80s or something, and this guy with no other information. So no one can find any information about this guy, and there's no pictures of his face. So they've cast an unknown, literally unknown, with no social media presence apparently, or at least hidden, to play this character who's very important. Because actors have pen names. The Doctor Who actor Sylvester McCoy, his name isn't Sylvester McCoy.
Yeah.
it's a pen name, and so
Screen name, yeah.
Yeah, although he's obviously better known by that, So by having this play, I mean, anyone can set up an IMDb. You've got an IMDb. I've got an IMDb. My dad's got an IMDb because you've been in something. It's really easy. But the fact that there's literally nothing to his name, and if you also note his makeup is a bit thicker than the female Klingon, it's a lot less. He can't move his mouth a lot less. So if you're gonna spend less money on makeup, spend it on a dude that's only got 3 appearances as a Klingon, the rest of it not. Whereas she has a lot more movement in her mouth, and you could, I think I mentioned that in the 3rd episode. He has so little expression.
Yeah.
So conspiracy theory a bit.
Seems like it.
And despite first appearing in Choose Your Pain, Latifah was in the opening credits for all previous episodes.
Yes.
Volvok appeared in 3 of the 4. Does seem a bit strange to be recast. He was this guy originally. I mean, what a...
I remember when they said they were changing him from a Klingon to a human. I'm like, oh, that's an odd thing to do.
Yep.
Huh. Maybe he just played the other role better, and they changed it.
He couldn't say the Klingon lines so well.
Yeah.
But what a someone in the marketing department, obviously it was on the call sheet. They released the information. They were like, oh no, guys, that's a reveal. We got to go back and unannounce it. But in terms of coincidences, if this isn't him, everything connects these two people, and like I said, the fact that this actor has no information. He has no backstory in acting. He has no other credibility to his name, and he's not Googleable. If you search his name in Star Trek Discovery, the only other, the most famous Javid Iqbal was a Palestinian serial killer born in 1956, died in 2001, and he did some bad things. I'm definitely not going to mention. You can Google it yourself if you want to. And if you search it with Star Trek, live Googling here, you start getting continuous Reddit threads about him being the other guy. So,
we're not saying it's a fact, guys. We're just giving you all the details that we know of.
The Daily Dot. Does the Star Trek Discovery actor actually exist? One of the main actors in Star Trek Discovery may not actually exist. And no, this isn't one of those crackpot Avril Lavigne was replaced by lookalike conspiracy theories. It's surprisingly plausible.
It's interesting. It's good that they definitely covered their bases if that's the way they did it.
Another bit of information, sorry, before we jump on that. His only photo is in full colour makeup as Voch. He's the only cast member who never appeared in the show's promotional tour.
Oh.
Whereas the female Klingon appeared in many, as did Cole, who only has had 2 appearances so far.
Yeah.
And yet this guy had just as much. Even Takuvma appeared.
Interesting. Don't want to jump to conclusions, but the evidence is pretty evident, as evidence is. Anyway, we just wanted to point that out. I think it'd be an interesting plot point and definitely very cool writing. I heavily approve of that. I mean, it's something that the new wannabe like Game of Thrones kind of vibe of television. I think that fits this mold. It's something that's very intricately woven throughout the entire series. I think it's fantastic.
And it links to Enterprise, links to TOS, links to the 60s with that thing, links to war, links to purity and loss, therefore of, links to the characters. The fact that... There was one more question, though. Obviously, we mentioned this in the previous episode about this topic. The female Klingon, who was actually... Someone messaged me specifically saying, because we commented in our episode, that the female actor who was in the early episodes did confirm in the After Dark, the After Trek special, it was her as both characters. Like, it was the same actor, same lady, same character. Even if it wasn't clear. But that was confirmed in the post.
Oh, okay. Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
But it was not clear. They did a piss poor job of that, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's one of those things you assume, but if you think about it, it's a bit odd. Which is a bit of a coincidence, those two people on the same ship together. Of all the ships in all the galaxy. And if you think about it, this is the secret, isn't it? I mean, once he's been turned, no Klingon can know, apart from her, that he's Voth.
Now, this is where, in the military, debriefings come in handy. Because once he got aboard the Discovery, he wouldn't necessarily be posted on Discovery. They would take him back to his starbase, have him debriefed, and find out what he knows, and then he would get an assignment elsewhere. he wouldn't necessarily get assigned to the ship that he got rescued by. And I think that's what we're going to see next episode. Is he's going to be questioned by an admiral maybe, and then here we'll put you in Discovery's seat. There you go.
See, I think you're look at who is the captain. Gabriel Lorca, a man who killed his entire crew to save them, a man who plotted and gained the only mutineer in all of Starfleet, successful mutineer, or I guess not successful, but he gets whatever the hell he wants. So if he wanted, he knows this guy has had some pain, had some troubles, had some whatever. Trust him explicitly because he helped him survive. I said in our review, he probably likes this guy more than anyone else on Discovery crew. Definitely more than Saru and stuff. Mm-hmm. They get on. He will absolutely say, "Sir, Ash, you're on my crew." And he's like, "Absolutely, Captain," because he's the only guy he knows left. And that bond that they've forged in this bit, he will absolutely overrule and say, "No, he's staying on my crew." So I have no problem with that.
That'll disappoint me if he gets duped that easily. If this is the case, and he just. I want you on my crew, and he doesn't. I want to have a lot of respect for Lorca. But it's
a damn good setup, though. Being captured, being beaten up, how could you fake that? Lorca doesn't know who Vok is. Lorca doesn't know who the female Klingon is. Lorca knows none of the political backstory of the Klingons at this point. He has no reason to suspect. And if they don't know Klingons are like humans, the only issue there is they got to back check if he really was on that ship. Like, will they fake the records, or do they make him look like that person? But I think Lorca absolutely overrule. But the last question, though, is that the last scene we see with the female Klingon, do you really think you could leave me after all we've been through? Now, that does also fit with Vok, because they've been through a lot at this point. 6 months of starving, thinking he's the torchbearer, making him get changed, having him on the ship. But why is she actually upset he's leaving? Was that before the plan? Was he not meant to leave with Lorca? Did he realise, this is my way out? Maybe I shouldn't just get information from him. I should leave with him. Maybe, or is that all part of the plan? I can't imagine it's that simple to not go with him. What do you think?
It seems overly contrived. Either way, he's going to get aboard a Federation ship. He's going to be infiltrating Federation space. Yep. I think it might just be luck of the draw that he's getting the Discovery, their top secret, jump into Klingon spaceship. It would just seem like really good luck, fortuitous luck. Because, like I said, in the military, that kind of structure, they have debriefings. Just because you're rescued by a certain ship or group of Marines, you're not going to be serving with them the next day. That's not how it works. Especially after 7 months in prison, you're going to have to go for counseling and all this other kind of stuff to make sure you're psychologically sound and ready for service. You're not going to be just handed, here's a chair on the bridge.
Can I throw out an interesting point, though? And we haven't discussed it yet because it's our last episode in this line, I think. There is no next time on. And we're at a point now that everyone's been set up. The story's been set up, the situation's been set up. What if, because we know that they have the jump drives functionally as a human person, what if in the next episode they either jump so far into Klingon space they're lost, like they can't get out easily, or they jump into the mirror universe, something along those lines, because we know this guy has now been affected, this engineer, so he's now stuck on the crew, ship. If they suddenly become too far away from Federation space, you're gonna trust him, aren't you? There is no debriefing.
Yeah. That I get. That would
maybe the plot starts next episode. That's why we didn't see it last time on, which was very absent.
That's interesting. Yeah, that could be the case. Absolutely. I don't argue that, but I'm just saying, for them to plan this ahead, things like that do happen in real life with the real military. That kind of structure, they would do a debriefing. So they would.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And he might be stationed on Earth. Which either way, he's behind Federation lines. He's on Federation side. He can do his thing, covertly back there and get positioned where he wants to be eventually. But I'm just saying it's not going to happen right away. Yeah. Unless they're watching a TV show and they got to hammer it out in a few episodes, then it will.
That's from being primary character. Everything always happens to you.
Yeah. But anyway, I think that's probably it for this talk. I actually learned quite a bit.
Yeah, brilliant theory and well played by CBS. The problem is we are all really looking at this show in depth. We're really thinking about it. And as soon as one person says it and it makes sense, yep, it makes sense. But hey, good plot if that is the case. Keep going.
Absolutely.
Keep going with it, yeah.
So, guys, if you want to help us out, you can click that like button. Show everybody that you like this video. Pass it along to all your friends. Don't forget to subscribe, because we've always got really cool videos coming out.
Yep.
We do our Discovery review, and then any piece of tech or ship that we see in that episode, or plot points that are very specific that we want to talk about, like this one, we will focus on as well. So hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of that. But you can also help us out in another way so that we can keep making these shows for you guys to enjoy.
Yeah, you can just share this show any way you think fans would enjoy it. Is that the right one?
I said that already.
Damn it, see, I always... Or you can, of course, support us directly, either by Patreon, which is a monthly donation service, kind of like a Netflix or a Hulu, just give a little bit each and every month. A lot of you do, but not quite enough, because the more we get, the more we can do, and the more great shows we can do. Because this isn't just a show, it's a channel, and we want to do more. We always want to do more, and we think we do quite a lot for you guys. So please, if you can help us out, please do. Or a one-time donation at trekyards.com. Give a little bit or a lot as a thank you, and we will always use it to help this show and make more shows, and just thank you in advance. I mean, as always.
Absolutely. So until next time, guys, he is a Klingon agent. Get him! Bye, guys.